Okay. All right. Let me see. The share that I wanted to talk about is this is new for you because you've been following my story and our friendship. So, because the cancer journey can become very myopic, and I started to go to the hospital, which I didn't really do in the beginning. I tried to stay away from the hospitals and the doctors that were just prescribing one particular one size fits all for cancer. So I'm not your typical cancer patient. I'm like marching to the beat of my own drum. But I am now 2 years and almost 7 months into this story. So think about it. When I go to the hospital, that like puts the fear of God in them because they give you anywhere from 2 to 5, 3 to 5, 5 to 10 lifespan associated with breast cancer for women if you do absolutely nothing. So for them, I've done absolutely nothing because I haven't done surgery or chemo or radiation. So I go to the hospital and I'm this anomaly. But after all the fear and all of like these different chapters of the book, I started to get super empowered. And then there's this sense of rage about going to the hospital, right? Because they know their way. And I want to respect their Western medicine. At the same time, I don't believe it's that one size fits all. So one of the things that I got this aha idea was I'm going to LA County, which was this huge, huge hospital in Los Angeles. And on Mondays, they see Medi-Cal patients. So Medi-Cal is like, let's call it like the poor man's insurance. And although I'm not like a poor, uneducated woman, I am a white woman with an education. I still need the benefits of that, which falls under some sort of Obamacare. So Medi-Cal, Medicaid. And I'm super grateful for it because it pays for some blood work and, MRI, different things that we do need in order to chart what's going on with the body. But the first time that I walked into this waiting room, it was Monday, and they just cram all these people, and it's men and women, and it's all ages, but predominantly minorities, which I found shocking. So predominantly Latinos with cancer, followed by African Americans, followed by Asians. And there's the TVs blaring, and people are on their cell phones, and then there is a woman that comes in periodically pushing a cart, and guess what's on the cart? Soda and chips and sugar and snacks, and people go and they buy these things and they're mindlessly on their phones, and there's some awful soap opera or telenovela blasting, and I'm like, this environment is like the least like it's so not conducive to healing. But my heart and my heartstrings were pulled because I saw so much fear, and I saw so many immigrants that didn't speak English or spoke very little English, and a lot of seniors, and they didn't have family or they may not have the funds, and although they're on Medicaid or Medi-Cal, they're gaining assistance, but there was just this somber sadness to it. And I thought, okay, not everybody's like me, not everybody's super spirited and positive and going to do cancer, in a happy way. And because I Lyft, and so it's like in LA, Lyft is like Uber and it's pretty popular. I Lyft my car. I drive people around for extra money. I thought, I want to start driving cancer patients to the hospital. What if I could drive a cancer patient a week and just start with this little endeavor and just give them like love and motivation and have this like upward momentum and joyous experience as they're going to a very, very scary experience, or very, scary appointment. And my boyfriend Johnny was super encouraging. And so one day we went online, and because the company is called Lyft, spelled Lyft, we looked up Lifted Up, and liftedup.org was available. And I'm like, we have to get that. And we bought the domain, and all of a sudden we had all of these, our wheels were turning, and I'm like, why don't I treat my cancer story as something bigger than me? So it's no longer about me. It's about me doing something for the cancer community, because I've gotten so much support, and I've had so many amazing, beautiful friends and friends of friends and strangers help me all across the board. And I needed to give back, because if I didn't, I would just feel like it's about me. So that's my one share, that it's still in the works, and we're doing things to get testimonials. But I started this little philanthropic endeavor with a big dream and a big goal, that if I could just drive one little cancer patient, and then another little cancer patient might turn into 5 or into 10, then I have other creative friends that are also lifting their cars, get them to join the mission, recruit other drivers, and eventually pitch Lyft. And so Lyft has a database of like thousands of drivers across the nation, especially with the state of affairs with our healthcare, and so many people like on the verge of like, are they going to lose their healthcare, pre-existing conditions? Cancer is a huge, huge problem in this country. And just, one tiny little movement of bringing joy and love to a very like real problem. And it may not be a big deal in New York or LA, but what about like Minnesota or Alabama, where the closest hospital is an hour away and someone doesn't have a relative to take them, or they don't have the money to get to the hospital, and the only way to do is like maybe to take a bus or a taxi. So that's my little project, and I'm super excited about liftitup.org, and I just wanted to share it with you. And as it grows and spreads its wings and gains momentum, I'll tell you more about it as it unfolds. So that is something that I'm super excited about. The reason I want to share that is because I feel we all want to make a difference, and we all want to feel like our lives mattered. And it's not a cliche when we say that we feel good by giving to others. I feel it's a truism of, and maybe a little bit selfish, but in a pure way of, I'm going to feel good when I do something for others, and yes, self-care and self-love and nurturing oneself is super important. If we don't do that, we don't have much to give. But it feels good to use what happened to me to then sort of like use that as a background, and then like, how do I push through this? How do I make this about others? How do I pay it forward? How do I turn my cancer story into a positive beam of light and hope? There's so many sad things in the world, and there's so much tumult and so much uncertainty, that I feel that we need more light and more positivity and more little stories. And I don't have to be Mother Teresa or Gandhi to change the world. You can affect somebody's life, just one little person at a time. So my first person that I took to the cancer clinic was my friend Fred. He does not have breast cancer. He has prostate cancer, and he has cancer in his stomach. And I met Fred at church, and he's this beautiful, beautiful African-American elder. And the reason I met him was because I was in the early chapel service, 8:30 in the morning, early bird. And Fred did a solo. And one of the things that I love the most about that little service, it's a contemplative service. So you go, and it's not a very dogmatic experience. You go and you serve, and you are there in reverence. And there's usually music involved and a very short lesson, and then you go on about your merry way. And it's a more progressive way of thinking about connecting to divine. I don't really see it as like a very churchy experience. But Fred was singing that day, and he opened his mouth, and God was in the house a millionfold. And there was a mix of this heaviness and the longing of life, filled with like the hope and the light. And then he finished, and then he took his cane and he went somewhere. And as soon as the service was over, I was like, oh, who was that man? Who was singing? Who was that man? And they said, oh, that's Mr. Fred Brooks. And I was like, I have to find him. And I just felt like, compelled and propelled to chase Fred down. And then for some reason, I was told by one of the elders in the church that he's on the prayer list, and Fred is fighting cancer, and he's a beloved part of the congregation, and he sings in the choir. And the very first day that I met Fred, I just went right up to him and I sat next to him on the pew and I said, "Are you Mr. Fred Brooks? I just found out your name." And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I just heard you singing and I just had to come and tell you that that was beautiful, and we need to be friends, and I know this might be personal, but I was informed that you have cancer, and guess what? I have cancer too." And all of a sudden cancer became this like happy, joyous, little connective thread. And I thanked him for his art and his passion and sharing. And we've been friends ever since. So I called Fred and I said, "Fred, I'm doing this little project and I want to help other cancer patients. And will you be my model? Will you be in my little video? Like, will you let me drive you to the cancer appointment?" And that was my first experience. So Fred is my first, and he was so grateful, and I picked him up, and we took him to the hospital, and I brought him in, and everybody was like, "Who's that with you, Fred?" And I took him upstairs, and I met all the sort of like ladies in the reception, and then I picked him up 2 hours later, and I drove him home. And it was something so small, picking him up and taking him home. And it just meant the world to him. So that's the ethos and the mission behind liftedup.org. And so that's where I am, just in a state of gratitude and paying it forward, and with like a positive momentum. And it's a tiny little thing, but it just feels really good, and I get emotional about it because I just want to make sure, since cancer happened, that I can use it for something, that if it happened to me, that it didn't happen in vain, that I became a better being, that I became a more loving woman and daughter and friend and lover and part of the community. And if I'm completely having this honesty party, I have evolved, and I feel I'm more awake and more conscious and more empathic, and I am kinder and a little bit more patient, and not very patient, but a little bit more patient, and just more forgiving. I feel like forgiveness is so important. It's such a part of healing, and cancer is just one layer of the healing that goes along with the story. We have our hearts to heal and our minds, along with our bodies, and then this disease is my friend. And I want to not fuck cancer, but I want to befriend cancer. Why can't cancer and I be friends? And why can't we do a beautiful dance together? And why can't we have a choreography? And why can't I listen to what she's trying to tell me and commune with her and love her? And then when she's ready to leave the nest and go out into the world, she'll move on. And that's how I envision this. And this has been, from day one, I'm going to turn this into a gift. So that's what I wanted to share. And today I'm seeing my dad for the first time in a year and almost 4 months. And it's the 11th. And so, as I said to David, it's an angel number. And David's angel, guardian angel, Angelique. And then my guardian angel, whose name I don't know, but I feel it's a beautiful guardian angel followed by an angel posse. He needs help. Our angels are gathering today on the 11th of October, 2017. What a blessed day. What a wonderful time to be alive. And we got to wake up. And as I said earlier, that means that our mission isn't over. And that is something that is so important to me. My mission is not over. It is right now is all I have. And so, carpe diem. I'm going to make the best of today, and I'm with my beautiful friend David, and I get to see my crazy father who thinks I'm crazy, and he's completely scared to death about my cancer. He doesn't know what the hell I'm doing, but somehow in a weird, twisted way, he has supported me and has never made me feel small or bad about not doing proper protocol, and he just goes, okay, I'm just gonna show up for you. And so it's a blessed day, and I'm looking forward to this. So, yeah. So, a little bit on the theme of, oh, it's vast, but it's not, because it is conducive to healing, and it is not only applicable to cancer or to other diseases, but I feel there's just one recurring message that is a constant in my journey, and if I can share with friends or strangers, beloveds, is you know, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control your mind and your thoughts, and emotions or feelings. I know they're slightly different, but they get all convoluted, and then so I feel your outlook, like your positive outlook, even in the midst when things look dire, or when life, you turn on the television and it's a freaking circus, and we see on the news every other day there's some travesty and murders and shootings and the lack of consciousness. I feel like, and it's hard. Maybe it's not even the mind. Maybe it's the soul. Maybe it's the soul's journey. Maybe it's the soul battling the mind, because the mind is this very analytical thing. But you can control your thoughts. You can push negative thoughts to the side. You can train the muscle to just be like, okay, this is scary. This may hurt. I feel betrayed. This sucks. And it's okay. But no, I want to redirect myself to gratitude. I want to redirect myself to healing. I want to redirect myself to self-care and to self-love. And so, oh, no, shitter. Whoa, my phone. I totally thought I had it on silent. Shit. And hopefully it's not my father. Oh, it is. It is.
Go ahead.
Okay, 1 second. Bobby? How are you doing? How come? Why? Mm. Okay, well, we planned everything around today. Well, we had dinner plans at 7:30, and Johnny was rushing home from work, and so that's what my plan was, to see you today. Unfortunately, tomorrow I have a friend coming into town, and we have plans tomorrow and Friday, and we leave Saturday. So today was the day that we had.
What I can do, Rise. I have somebody
I lost you.
125. Hello?
Yeah.
It's 125 people all together. So if I can set up everything and leave him by himself in charge, if it goes goofy, I'll bear the consequences. But how can I say? I don't think I can set up everything until about 7 o'clock and then let him run until the end, which is 10 o'clock. Okay, so
It's fine. I mean, I just am. I don't know what to say. It's just, okay. There's nothing I can say. You have to work.
totally booked up tomorrow and day after tomorrow.
Yeah, if you want to come in the daytime, I can see you in the day. But I don't know if you'll be able to meet Johnny. Just call me back. It's fine.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that sucks. It's okay. You can roll the camera because this is life. And I don't feel bad about it. My dad has to go to set up some fucking work function at work and has to postpone. And it's like such a weird thing to say to me. And we made plans and I made a dinner reservation and my boyfriend was so happy to meet him and it was a big deal and this is the man that I'm sharing my life and is helping me through cancer, and my dad can't sort of organize to choose, like, and I didn't see him in a year and almost 4 months. Yeah, so that's hilarious, my whole like thought process. And okay, so this is okay. I mean, this is perfect example of things that happen that are not in the script and it's improv and my feelings are hurt and I haven't seen my dad and he's a priority for me and it seems so stupid that I can't be a priority for him and he has to go deal with a work function and got a call 10 minutes ago, so he has to go into a fucking stadium and at the end of his fucking life on his deathbed, he's gonna say, I chose to go to the stadium to put together a work function instead of seeing my daughter. Yeah, it sucks. So, but it's okay. So, well, life goes on. That's part of the message. It can really hurt, and it's going to be full of disappointments. And I had all my hopes up, and I didn't see my dad for so long. And it's such a lame excuse, right? Like, it's not even like anything important. But it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to share that, yeah, I guess life hurts. And you can feel really lonely, and maybe the people that you thought are going to be there for you or love you the hardest will disappoint you the most. But there's a lot of love, and I have a lot of good friends. And, friends. Like my friend David. He's this beautiful, amazing soul behind the camera. And we're alive. And I still get to like go and wash my face and redo my makeup and go out there into the beautiful New York City, which I love and I'm visiting, and I get to shine my bright light and go to dinner tonight with my beloved. Even if my dad stood me up, it's okay. But the spirit is resilient. And it hurts for a little bit, and then love comes again in the most unexpected way. And yeah, so it's okay. I'm just gonna lick my wounds for a little bit, and then I'm gonna rebound. And I'm disappointed in my father's choice, but I'm not judging him. I'm just judging his choices, because everything's a choice at the end of the day, which ties into like how we spend our day. And if it was your last day on earth, did you make a decision to be with who you wanted to be, where you wanted to be, with joy? And that's so important, right? Not out of guilt, but just out of joy. Did you make the choices in your life that were
in sync with who you are and your highest purpose and your authenticity. So, yeah. Well, that's so funny. That was like such a turn of events, right? But on a positive note, I had a strange thing happening. I had a very dear girlfriend, and suddenly, like, I was here a few months ago, and she flew me out, and I was going through a little bit of a tough chapter. So she said, "Why don't you come to New York? We're on our way out to Europe. Stay in our house for those 2 weeks, and we'll fly you out." And I thought that was such a beautiful, like, highest form of love. She heard me in need and felt me in need, and was generous with her time and her abundance. And that was just over the summer in June, July. And now we're in October. It's just been a sprinkle of months. And for some reason, slowly, over the weeks, like, the communication stopped. And I'm not big on social media. I post a lot, but I don't sit there looking at everybody's life through social media. I have my own life. But I was not as responsive on social media to all of my friends. I didn't like everything that they're doing because I'm living busy, going to the fucking hospital and lifting my car. So I don't have time to sit there and like everything you're doing. But I noticed that, like, as time went on, there was like no communication, and I wanted to share something with her. And so flash forward 3 months, it's kind of crickets. And I'm on the plane yesterday, and we're flying from California to New York, and I turned to my beloved and I said, I have this funny feeling like something's wrong with my friend Sansan, and I don't know why. And my ego wanted to say, well, I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. Why am I getting a silent treatment? And I said, if I go to New York and I don't tell her that I'm there, I'm making a statement. That's my ego. Like, oh, well, you don't talk to me. I'm not going to talk to you. I'll be in New York for 5 days, and I'm too busy to see you. And I said to Johnny, the radio silence is awkward. I'm confused, and I'm feeling vulnerable. And sometimes that's when I feel more vulnerable because of my health. And I feel like your friends are supposed to love you and make you feel better, not make you feel worse. And I am sensitive and very aware of having breast cancer. And so sometimes you just feel fragile and you want to be taken care of. And your little children inside, right? They just want to be held. And oftentimes I say, I just want to be a guest at the party. I don't always want to be the fucking hostess. Why do I always have to host? Why can't I just be the guest and come and enjoy? I don't want to cook or clean or serve. So with my friendships, I feel like I've spent many years prostituting my love and like prostituting my friendship and wanting to be liked. And I don't do that anymore. So on the plane, I said, well, I don't want to go to New York and prostitute my love. And, I don't want to have to oh, please come and see me. But I had this aha moment, and it ties into the healing. Because yes, I feel exposed. And yes, I feel like, why isn't my friend talking to me? And I feel, what did I do? So, and it's easy to just come and go and not tell her I'm here and not make time for her. So I arrived. And I bought a blank card, and I wrote in it, Dear Sansan, I love you and I miss you. We're in town for a few days, and I'd love to meet either one-on-one, or do you want the boys to join? And I said, it's funny how the gut works, isn't it? When something tells you it may be off, it's important to listen. And I said, I miss you. I'd love to see you. Let me know. And so I dropped off the card, and I didn't hear anything back. And so I'm going to give myself credit for going on the line and being vulnerable and reaching out to my friend. And I guess the thing is that we do things, and you can only be responsible for how you are and how you respond and how you react. And it's also important to take a look at how people in your life, sometimes you have to sort of reorganize the priorities list. And some people move around. And in times of troubled waters, sometimes it's painful or bittersweet to have to reorganize that like pecking order. And it's also beautiful how someone that you expect absolutely nothing from can come and help you heal and love you. And I believe in the kindness of strangers. And so, kind of in a weird, bizarre way, my dad canceling on me and my friend not responsive to a very heartfelt letter that I wrote, it was very poignant. But again, forgiveness and patience and tolerance. So I like who I'm becoming. And growth hurts sometimes. It's hard to feel exposed and raw. What is it? Love is so easy. It's people who are complicated. But yeah, I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to allow it to marinate for a while and see how I feel, and just take it as another lesson in the journey of life, of healing and letting go. Positivity and self-love and upward momentum. And that's how I want to end this day.